That's true about protein. I always explain to my clients that protein builds up and the hair shaft reacts badly. I give the illusion of water and ice. When water freezes, it becomes ice. Ice, once frozen, breaks. Once your hair has too much protein, it begins to snap and break. Protein treatments were mainly to be used to stop breakage and to be used with a conditioning, softening treatment afterwards. Examples like AVOCADOS / Emergency both require a moisturizing treatment afterwards. After a strengthening treatment, you should focus on moisture. This comment was left on my channel over 2 years ago. The science has been here, but nobody wanted to listen. So let's talk about it now. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and click on that bell notification so you're notified every time I post another video. Now, Bianca So West Coast is one of my OG subscribers, and she was having some issues with her hair because she kept using AVOCADOS. I told her, hey, use Olaplex to treat some stuff, and then go ahead and use some Paul Mitchell tea tree shampoo. And this is what we had to talk about after. Girl, my hair, ever since I switched the products you suggested for my low porosity hair, that was literally the last piece to my puzzle. And my hair is so healthy since I stopped using AVOCADOS and protein based products. My ends feel so moisturized and my scalp is so healthy. I don't oil my scalp since I saw your videos, and oh my God, I am so grateful. All I use now is Paul Mitchell moisturizing set and Olaplex deep conditioner and the oil on my ends. I take my iron, vitamin D, and I'm good. My hair is thriving now. Thank you so very much. The reason I read that comment before we hop back into this one that another professional cosmetologist left on my channel is because I want you guys to see the parallel. From the very beginning, licensed cosmetologists have been going back and forth with YouTubers and the information that they provide, because that myth of you needing protein and everybody needing a protein moisture balance makes no sense, because scientifically, after a protein treatment, you must do a moisturizing treatment in the same day. So it is a full-fledged process, and it is something that isn't done on a regular basis. If we did a protein treatment in a hair salon, it is after a color service has been done improperly, after a relaxer has been done improperly. Normally, when our clients would do their hair themselves, we would give a protein treatment because it would reinforce their hair. Most women don't understand that when something is something is known as a protein treatment, your hair is protein. So most women think that when they're giving their hair protein, they're giving their hair something foreign. No, your hair is made of a protein called keratin. So when people are giving you a keratin treatment, they're not putting keratin in your hair. What they're actually doing is putting a layer on top of the hair shaft, treating, I'm doing the quotation marks with my fingers. But just like she said, I haven't heard anybody use a better metaphor to explain protein in the hair. So let's break it down. She says she always explains to her clients that protein builds up in the hair, right? And protein buildup acts badly. So what is protein buildup? Like I said, your hair is made of protein. So when you're constantly using a shampoo or a conditioner that is protein based, like AVOCADOS or anything that is protein based, then what ends up happening is you cause an overproduction and a buildup of protein, that artificial protein that is being treated. You are actually creating a buildup of that protein within the hair shaft. For example, there is a YouTuber that made a video about Reckin. It's their blue bottle, and I actually love the shampoo, but it's a protein builder, right? The shampoo, is it as good as Olaplex? No, and this is my opinion, but they don't promote themselves to be, but the YouTuber's like, hey, this is better than Olaplex. So women are constantly like, oh, I'm only using a protein based shampoo and conditioner. Whether you have low porosity hair or high porosity hair, a protein treatment is not something that you should do on a regular basis, because protein's only purpose, and I've been saying this for years, using protein on your hair has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to make the cuticle stronger. The cuticle, remember, and that's why I always tell you guys about the 3 different layers of the hair shaft: the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. So when we're talking about protein treatments, a protein treatment is supposed to strengthen the hair's cuticle. But like she just said, when you look at it as water and ice, right? And a protein treatment is something that's going to make the hair colder. The more protein you put on the hair, the more you freeze the hair, if you're using the analogy of water and ice, right? So protein on the hair would be the equivalent to you starting to make the temperature different in the room, making it colder and colder, right? So the higher the temperature gets, the more the water is going to freeze, right? And it's the same thing with your hair shaft. The more protein you add to the hair, the more the hair shaft is going to get stiff. The stiffer the hair shaft is going to get, and this doesn't matter per porosity. It doesn't matter. Low porosity, high porosity, and medium porosity and low porosity. All 3 of them. All right. This goes for everybody across the board. The more protein you add, the harder your hair shaft gets. And the harder it gets, it eventually will snap. So this is what's happening. Most people, not only are they adding too much protein, on top of you adding too much protein to your hair, you only use sulfate-free shampoo that does not have the ability to remove the amount of artificial protein that you're adding to the hair. Right? Not to mention, on top of co-washing, on top of adding a bunch of protein to the hair, you're also co-washing with coconut oil. And coconut oil is pure protein and fat. Do it. Google it. Research it yourself. All of the different things that are amazing about coconut oil are when they're broken down and processed within the body. But when you're constantly adding protein to the hair shaft, the only thing you're going to do is break the hair. Right? And so for the last 15 years, or let's say 10, 11 years, however long the Team Natural and all of the hacks have been out. I know Black women have been wearing their hair natural forever. I know that. I'm talking about all of these YouTube hacks. All of the YouTube hacks push y'all to use protein in y'all hair. For example, rice water. Rice water is nothing but a protein treatment, pure protein. Right? So when I was telling y'all not to put it in y'all hair because y'all was slowly killing y'all hair, you really were. Because the more protein you add to the hair, and rice water is a protein treatment, nothing else. It's a protein treatment. And the bacteria that you grow was eating away at some of the bacteria that was on your scalp, kind of preventing your hair from growing. But rice water, in essence, is a protein treatment. So this is why most of the women who have been promoting protein treatments, the protein treatment of rice water, they're all having hair weathering. They're all cutting their hair off. All of their hair is thinning out. And that is because protein overload is real, and you do not need to constantly do protein treatments in your hair. As a licensed cosmetologist, I have only had a protein treatment I think my last protein treatment was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I did it that one time because I had a really, 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 really bad HS outbreak in my scalp. That was the only reason I did it. Outside of that, I don't need my cuticle reinforced. And in a hair salon, you get a protein treatment when your cuticle is almost blown out from, like I said, like over processing from a relaxer, Gina curl. People who get Gina curl need protein treatment, stuff like that. But just the everyday person, absolutely not, because like this beautiful scientist said, oh my God, the way she broke it down, it's just like water and ice. The more protein you add to the hair shaft, the more you're going to freeze the hair shaft. And when the hair shaft is frozen, when ice is frozen, it is fragile. You can't break water. You can't break no water. How you break water? Water isn't fragile in its natural state. It's strong. It's powerful. But when water is frozen, it is fragile. It can be broken easily, that formation of it. So that is something that I need you to understand. But see, the difference between our hair and water, even though the ice will break, once it melts, it'll come back together. The human hair shaft does not work that way. It is not a healable source like your skin is. It doesn't rejuvenate itself like that. Once the ends break, you have to cut them off. This is why it's important for you guys to really, really pay attention to the stuff that you use. You guys don't really notice that many professional cosmetologists telling y'all to go get Afro-G. You don't, and you won't, because it's not something that everybody should use. And Afro-G is something that I would only recommend to my clients to use if their hair is over processed and they're using it for a very short period of time. And that is why the woman previously was like, oh my God, ever since I stopped using Afro-G on my hair is thriving, because she had low porosity hair. So every time she put Afro-G products on her hair, or products that were based in protein-based products, it froze her hair shaft more and more and more. More and more and more. It made the cuticle tighter and tighter and tighter. Low porosity hair has a cuticle that is shut tightly, right? Well, I shouldn't say shut, because they all can open, right? But the dead cells on top of the hair shaft are made of dead keratin cells, right? And those dead keratin cells lay in a certain way. Low porosity hair, they're really tight on top of each other. So by you adding more protein, whose only objective is to freeze, right? To strengthen, to lock, that's protein's only purpose. All right. Your bones are made of protein. Your skin is made of protein. Your organs are made of protein. They are created to stay locked into place. Okay, so when you add a protein treatment to your hair, you are adding something to lock your hair into place. And if the cuticle is not damaged, if the cuticle does not need to be repaired and strengthened, you are going to do long-term damage on your hair constantly using protein and constantly doing protein treatments. YouTubers do not know what they talking about, y'all. They read one article, and because they don't have the science to match it, they'll just kind of like take it apart and make stuff up. So the moisture and protein balance is not like for your everyday life. The protein and moisture balance is for the day that you use protein treatments. So if you ever put a protein treatment in your hair, you have to have an excessive moisture treatment that follows it. Anytime somebody booked a protein treatment with me, it added an extra 45 minutes onto their service, because they first, and probably longer than 45 minutes, because they had to get, about 45 minutes. They had to get 20 minutes of the protein treatment and then an additional 20 to 25 minutes of a moisture treatment to balance out the protein. That is when the moisture protein balance comes in, not just for your everyday life, but for the day that you use any form of protein in your hair. And this isn't just for low porosity hair. This is across the board. Okay, there are a lot of women who don't really have high porosity hair, but your hair is performing as high porosity hair because you're constantly freezing the hair shaft. Okay. And I don't really mean frozen. I'm talking about her analogy. You're constantly making the hair shaft stay stuck in one place. And that is what is driving your hair crazy. All right. You guys, all you need to do, find your porosity. Finding your porosity. What do I mean? When I say find your porosity, I mean, how hard is it for your hair to receive and release moisture or products or toxins? How hard is it? Do you have low porosity hair? Is it a little harder because the cuticles are tighter? Is it normal to medium? They just chilling, it don't really matter. Or is it high? It's a little bit too easy and kind of hard to hold things in. That is what determines what type of shampoo and conditioner you use. For example, if you're somebody who has low porosity hair, the reason that I recommended her to get the tea tree for Paul Mitchell is because tea tree is going to open that cuticle. It's going to open the pore. It'll open everything. So a person who has a closed cuticle that needs help opening it, of course, is really going to benefit from a product that causes the cuticle to open. But you guys, stop it with this moisture protein balance stuff. The moisture protein balance is only in place when you do a protein treatment that day. All right. You guys have been using protein so wrong for so long. Let me know what you think about the comments below, and give me some comments and let me know if you want me to do a part 2 explaining to you exactly how to use protein.